What's up, guys? Can you hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. All right, let's get this tweeted out and then we can do a quick recap here. What's everybody drinking? I got a Kona Brewing Company Longboard Island Lager. Nice and light. Wait for some people to trickle in and then we'll get going here. We got a Salty Crew Pale Ale. Never heard of that one. Straight Tito's. I can understand that. Bud Ice. Love a Bud Ice. Coors Light, Casamigos. Like that. All right, we'll see some more people trickle in. I'm guessing it'll be a light stream tonight because that was pretty ugly, huh? So here's where we're at. We'll get going now. We got enough people in here. I'm sure some more people will trickle in. We'll keep it pretty short tonight. Not a whole lot to unpack from that game. So I'll probably go about 20 minutes or so. But Chargers lose to the Patriots 27-24. It ultimately wasn't really that close. The Chargers scored a garbage time touchdown that made it closer than it really was. But that game got away from them in the fourth quarter. I mean, the biggest takeaway, and as always, if you want my full takeaway, subscribe to The Athletic. It's in the description there, so click the link. But biggest takeaway for me is that heading into the bye week, the main point of emphasis offensively in terms of things that needed to change and improvements that needed to be made revolved around the early down efficiency. It was an issue. Through 6 weeks, they were number 2 in the league in third and fourth down efficiency, according to EPA. They were 24th in early down efficiency, 26th in first down efficiency, according to expected points added. And they come out of the bye week. They have 2 weeks to self-scout, to game plan for New England, and they come out and they have the same issues. Too many third and longs, not enough efficiency on first and second down, putting themselves in difficult spots, and giving the Patriots opportunities to rush the passer in known passing situations, and they don't have the offensive line talent with the injuries to deal with the number of third and longs that they're facing. Now, in this game, you had a 41-yard completion to Keenan Allen on the opening drive of the game off play action. That was on a 2nd and 4. And then on the second touchdown drive of the game, you had a 75-yard run from Justin Jackson on a 2nd and 10. You take those 2 plays away, and you take away the garbage time drive, which was irrelevant. The Chargers averaged negative 0.37 expected points added per play on first and second down. Tied for the worst in the league. They're not efficient on first and second down, and is preventing their offense from being efficient overall, because you cannot rely on the kind of third down efficiency that they had through the first 5 weeks of the season over the course of the season. That area is going to regress. So that's what we've seen in the Baltimore game. That's what we've seen in this game against the Patriots. Chargers were 3 for 10. Let's see. Nope. They were 4 for 12 on third down in this game. So you're seeing the regression on third down, and they don't have the first and second down efficiency to deal with that kind of regression. That's plain and simple what's going on here. And so offensively, the issues boil down to drops, right? Keenan Allen had a big drop on a third down. Mike Williams had a catch he could have made on a third down that he dropped after a hit. Austin Eckler had a drop on the interception. And the protection is an issue. And listen, we talked about this coming into the season, guys, that the offensive line depth wasn't there. You lose Brian Bulaga, which we all expected. You lose Ode Ibushi, and you have Storm Norton at right tackle, and you have Michael Schofield, who they signed off the street, playing right guard. And those guys struggle today. Justin Herbert was under a ton of pressure, getting passes batted at the line. He was getting hit, and he looks rattled. He looks flustered. He looks out of sync, and it's hard to blame him for feeling that way, considering the amount of pressure he's dealing with. Now, I want to point to a specific 2nd and 1 play. This was in the second quarter. Chargers were leading 14-10. On the first play of the drive, Eckler breaks a tackle in the backfield and gains 9 yards, setting up a 2nd and 1. The Chargers try to go tempo in this situation, 2nd and 1. They go no huddle, and they have a quick pass play call where Keenan Allen runs a stick route out of the slot. It's a little 2-3 yard route. He stops once he gets past the sticks, and Herbert's supposed to hit him immediately. Now, the play unfolds. Normally, Herbert is protected, and he has the throw. Now, I got to go back and watch it on tape because I'm confused why Herbert didn't make the throw. But he's looking at Keenan. Keenan's open, and he should make the throw. But instead of making the throw, he's so worried about possible pressure that he tucks the ball and tries to scramble forward. He runs into his offensive lineman and then tries to escape backwards, gets sacked, and that sets up a 3rd and 6. And Brandon Staley brought up that play specifically because it shows them being inefficient in an early down, in a very manageable early down situation. And I think it shows how much Justin Herbert is being affected by the pressure he's facing. And so those are the two biggest issues. Now, I know all of you guys are railing on Joe Lombardi, and ultimately the buck stops with him as the offensive coordinator. But everyone after the game said that we had a good game plan going in. We had a plan to win. Keenan Allen said that in the Ravens game, we got outcoached, right? But in this game, it was on us. You got drops. You've got protections getting blown. You've got the right tackle and the right guard getting blown off the ball. I don't necessarily look at this as a clear play calling issue. I mean, you guys keep bringing up the 2nd and longs. Oh, they're running the ball on 2nd and long over and over again. Go look at the statistics. 14 2nd and longs in this game. They ran it on 4 of them, and one of them was a 75-yard run. So I don't think it's a run-pass issue. I don't think it's relying on runs and 2nd and longs. Like, I don't think that's the issue right now. It's an execution issue. Plain and simple. They're not protecting. Justin Herbert is being affected by that pressure. And in this game, they had a ton of drops that were crucial. And then late in the game, in the fourth quarter, the Chargers have a chance to win it. They have the ball with the lead, 17-16, right? And what happens? Herbert tries to throw a check down into the flat. Miscommunication between him and Jared Cook. He throws to the outside. Cook's looking to the inside. Adrian Phillips makes a great play, returns it for a touchdown, and that was ball game right there. So that's what it comes down to offensively. Staley and Lombardi are working with what they have on this offensive line, but the talent isn't there. The depth was an issue heading into the season, and it's getting exposed right now. And that's what's affecting Herbert. Okay. Someone is saying that Staley has to go. We're putting you in timeout, Luke. It's just a stupid comment. So, yeah, that's the deal offensively. Defensively, this team played well defensively today. They played really well defensively. Okay? They gave up 20 points despite being put in very difficult situations time after time after time. They stopped the run today. I don't know, what game are you guys watching? I see people in my mentions talking about the run defense. Like, listen, the run defense has been a problem. Don't get me wrong. It's been league worst. But today they showed up. Justin Jones is back. They stopped the run. Like, what are you asking for here from this team? Here are the final stats with the run. They gave up 141 yards on 39 carries, a 3.6 yards per carry average. If you're under 4, you're stopping the run. Okay, so here's what it came down to defensively. Special teams were a mess. I know Dustin Hopkins kicked well. That was the one positive. But the punt coverage units were awful. And what happened was Bill Belichick said, listen, I don't think you guys have the horses on the interior to cover Gunnar Olszewski. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double your gunners because the gunners are the only guys that are making plays. That's Ryan Smith and Tavon. So he doubled the gunners. That's 4 guys on the outside. You got 1 returner back. He had 6 guys in the box against the Chargers' 8 interior punt protectors. And those guys couldn't make plays. So you had returns of 22, 21, 10, and 26 yards from Gunnar Olszewski. Off punts alone, the Patriots had a average starting field position of the 40-yard line, including one drive that started at the 36 after they made that goal line stand, tie long punts. Olszewski rattles off a 20-plus yard return, and they start that drive inside the 36. Despite that, the Chargers hold them to a field goal there off that punt return. That was an impressive showing from the defense. On 2 possessions later, Herbert throws the interception that goes off Eckler's hands. That drive starts at the Chargers' 40-yard line. They hold him to a field goal there as well. On the first possession of the second half, Derwin James forces the fumble on Kendrick Bourne, punching that ball out. They recover. They force a fumble. Get no points out of it. And then, later in that quarter, Derwin James comes up with a massive run stop on 3rd and 1. Flies through there. That was on the very next possession. I'm sorry, 2 possessions later. Early in the 4th quarter, he flies through on a 3rd and 1 run, comes up with a huge run stuff. Chargers force a punt. And what happens on the next possession? Herbert throws the pick 6. So this was not on the defense. I know they gave up a couple passes, but that's going to happen in the NFL. They stopped the run. They limit them to 20 points despite short fields. The defense did their job today, plain and simple. They gave the Chargers a chance to win. The offense was inept. It was anemic. It was disjointed. It looked awful. And the passing game and lack of it is why the Chargers lost this game. It really boils down to that. So what's going on here? What's going on here is you're seeing some of these roster holes being exposed. Now, I know the defensive line played better today because Justin Jones was back, but they had a lack of depth there heading into the season. And you lose Justin Jones in week 1. He doesn't play for 5 weeks. And what happens? You get beat by some good rushing teams because you can't stop the run. It happens in the Ravens game and happened in the Cowboys game. They couldn't stop the run in the Browns game either, but the offense won that game for them. You have issues with your offensive line depth. What happens? You have injuries on the offensive line, and now the right side of your offensive line is a mess, and it's affecting your second-year quarterback who was playing lights out when he did have good protection. The Chargers have not drafted and developed or signed quality special teams players year after year after year after year. It's an organizational thing. What happens? You don't have the horses to go up against a great special teams unit like the Ravens or go up against a great special teams unit like the Patriots, and you give up 20-yard punt return after 20-yard punt return. They call it hidden yardage for a reason. It decides games. And when opposing offenses are starting with great field position time after time after time after time, that's going to be a lot to overcome, especially when you have an offense that can't perform on 1st and 2nd down. So these are the issues. And they were always the issues. They were always the issues. You know, you guys got on me when I said that I thought this team was a 9-8 team, right around 500. They get out to a great start. Everyone tells me I'm an idiot. But I always saw these flaws. You can go back to my writing in the spring and summer when I told you these flaws existed and that these flaws were what was going to hold this team back. And that's what's happening here. So those are my thoughts on the game. Let's do some questions, and then we'll get out of here. Someone says, but some position players lower on the depth chart need to be better in the kicking game for us. No question about it, they have to be better. But you got a bunch of rookies out there. You got Nick Neiman, you got Eamon Agbangbamiga, you've got Chris Rumpf. You're throwing a bunch of rookies out there, late-round picks. It takes time for those guys to develop. But you don't have the existing presence on the roster because you haven't drafted well enough and you haven't developed those players. Chris Harris benching. I know there's that deep pass over the top. From my vantage point, it looked like he was expecting help on that post route from Derwin, and he was clearly playing outside leverage in the play, so it looked like he was expecting help on the inside. But that's a type of specific play that I'll get more details on from Staley tomorrow. So I'll get back to you on that one. But I don't think Chris Harris has been a disaster by any means. What will it take for Lombardi to be on the hot seat? It's too early. You don't want to make a knee jerk reaction. And at times, this offense has been outstanding. So I think it's too early for that, but we'll see. I mean, if these issues continue, the same issues that we've been talking about in terms of early down efficiency, you have to reassess where you're at. Is a taco a sandwich? No, it is not. Yeah, so that's a good question. People are asking, Herbert faced similar pressure last season. Why do you think the pressure is affecting him more this season? Well, I think in the Ravens game, they just had a really good game plan that got him off schedule and got him out of rhythm. It is a small sample size. Like, it's only 2 games, and you've gone up against 2 really good defensive coaches, and I think that matters. Um, but it is a cumulative effect, right? It's been 2 straight games where he's really felt the pressure and hasn't had much time to throw. But honestly, that's a really good question, and something that I'll dig into for sure, because he was really great under pressure last season, and he hasn't been as good so far this season. Now, one thing I can add there is that that's not a particularly sticky stat. So you don't really see a quarterback perform at the level Herbert did under pressure year after year after year. So this is what people were talking about when they were expecting some regression, that it's hard to keep up that level of play against pressure. The thought this season was you have a better offensive line and you're just facing less pressure. And that has been true to an extent, but these last 2 weeks have been bad. And since they've lost Ode Ibushi, it's really unraveled a little bit. Maybe time to move Filer to right tackle and put Kelamete at left guard. Norton is getting abused the last 2 games. Sure, I think that has to be on the table. Something I'll ask Staley about tomorrow. Someone asked why the Chargers didn't use a fullback today. Steven Anderson played fullback today instead of Gabe Neighbors. He was back there on a few snaps. Why doesn't Telesco make in-season trades? Good players rarely come available. He values draft picks and covets them because they're cheap players with potential. That's sort of his philosophy. That's how he builds the team. He doesn't believe in just making a trade to make a trade. A lot of times you're trading for name value over, the actual level of play that player is providing. Um, it's not easy just to go find a starting guard on the trade market. That doesn't, players are available for a reason. It's usually injury or declining play. And, in season trades don't really work out. It's hard to find an example of an in season trade that really boosted a team to playoff contention just because those players aren't available. This isn't baseball. This isn't even the NBA, right? Like, in season trades aren't as crucial in the NFL. You have to build your roster in the offseason. Someone keeps asking, would you still trade for anyone at the deadline or just ride this out this season? I think you have to look into a trade, but this goes back to what I was saying before. It's not an easy fix. Starting players just aren't available for trade, you know, in the NFL. Someone's saying Chargers offense has been lackluster without Tyron Johnson. Tyron Johnson isn't playing for an awful Jaguars team. Like, he's not the reason the offense has struggled, period. Oh my God. Some of you guys are just freaking spamming the same question. Stop kidding ourselves. Eckler is not a first down back. Austin Eckler is one of the best running backs in football. They don't need a starting running back. Austin Eckler is a fantastic player. So there's the answer to your question you put in there 45 times. Why has there been such a lack of speed in the offense the past 5-ish seasons? It's just not true. Plenty of speed in the offense. Tyron Johnson, Jalen Guyton, Tyler Williams, so forth and so on. Austin Eckler runs a 4.3. What are we talking about here? Hogwatch asks, what happened to Keenan's hands? Yeah. I don't know, man. It's been really shocking to see him drop as many balls as he has this year. It's so uncharacteristic. I have no idea what's going on. That's another thing that I'll have to ask about because I can't come up with a good answer. I mean, he's such a reliable receiver. To see him drop a 3rd and 6 like that in a key moment, it was shocking. I could not believe what I was seeing. But it's been a trend this season, unfortunately. All right, any more questions? All right. Anything else? We're going to wrap this up soon. Keep it short tonight. Kenneth Murray, he was working out in the field today. It sounded like he was still a couple of weeks away, but we'll see if he's practicing this week. Is Bulaga done for the year? Possibly. Staley keeps saying that he's going to be back, but I have my doubts about that. Do you think Herbert is being limited by having to stay in the pocket too much? I think that Brandon Staley really wants to get more quarterback movement in the offense, more rollouts, more overall pocket movement. That was something that was an emphasis coming into this game, and they didn't really do enough of it just because the offense was so disjointed in the game. But that's going to be a point of emphasis. They're going to want to get Herbert on the move more because he's really good in those situations. What do you think of the new kicker? Dustin Hopkins kicked well today. He's experienced. Hit a 48-yarder, made all 3 of his kicks. Definitely a good start. Man, this Winnie fella or woman is just spamming. All right. We'll call it there. Make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. Click the link below. I got all my takeaways from the game. And then keep an eye out for the final thoughts, which will be up Tuesday morning, per usual. So, tough loss. Chargers are 4-3 now. 2 straight losses. 1 game back of the Raiders in the AFC West. Someone asked why so short. My girlfriend just got back from vacation. So going to go say hi to her. But if you want more, read The Athletic. And yeah, stay tuned for those final thoughts where I'll have much more on this loss. But as always, thanks for joining, guys. Peace out.